Hey traders, today's March 1st, 2018. Looks like the volume's back in the market. The S&P sucked all of the volume and volatility out of our small cap market for the last few weeks, but it seems to be back now. We've had some good movers, and the stock that we traded was MNGA. So only traded the MNGA today, so just going to go through that trade. So MNGA to start, take a look at the daily on this thing. Now, I want you to focus on at the bottom of the page. This is the volume that's existed in this stock since, I don't know, mid 2015. There's something here, so you can see the volume at the bottom of the page, right? Sometimes actually you can't even see a lot of it. And then today, take a look at that volume spike. That line right there is actually the amount of volume that we traded today in MNGA relative to the rest of those 3 years that we're looking at right now in the market. So anyway, all that being said, what we were looking for was to sell MNGA because this is a stock that's been down, down, down ever since forever, really. So why would anybody be going along on a stock like this? Aside from people that are scalpers that are maybe looking to scalp on the way up really quickly, I would rather play the trend, and the trend on this guy is, and forever will be, it seems, down. So we got some positive news out on MNGA. They were awarded a venture of some sort. I put out an alert to our members in the active traders members area and the members chat that we were looking at a stock that was on the higher time frame, long-term bearish. It had high relative volume, as you can see. The pre-market had a head and shoulders. So if I go down to the 3-minute or even the 1-minute, the pre-market had what was looking to be a head and shoulders on the macro level. Left shoulder, right shoulder, head, and then breakdown. And we had basically a downtrend, a really nice spike in volume in the pre-market session, and then a downtrend. And what I was looking for was what price is our buyers having a hard time getting over right now, and we were looking at 150 being the price that buyers are having a hard time getting over. And so before the market opened, this is what we saw. And I was saying in the members area, if we get a spike up to 150, we're going to be looking to become sellers at 150, and we're going to be looking to ride that wave all the way down. Alternatively, we could have possibly just had a sell-off straight from the open, as some stocks will just do that, and that gives us no real opportunity to get in short. And the third scenario is price breaking up over 50 and then consolidating above 50, giving us an opportunity to take a short term, and I underscore short term, long bias trade, and then maybe price turning around 170s, so we can risk off of the high near 179, 180 to the downside. So obviously the first scenario ended up playing out where we had a spike in volume up to 150 like that. On the macro level, show you here I've got the video up from today. On the macro level, we could see on the, let me just fast forward this a little bit to the open. On the macro level, we could see that the open had a lot of buying volume coming in the order flow. We had about 5,000 plus buyers coming in at 145. And at 150 was a chunk of sellers waiting to sell. Now, this really didn't tell us anything until the market opened up and we saw what happened here at 150. So I'm just going to play it here, and we want to see what happens at 150. So as the market gets up to 150, you can see, boom, at the open, we're in 150, we're spiking over 150, we're beginning to break down under 150, Now price is below 150 after having spiked up into 150 and then broken down. You can see that right here. A little difficult to see there, but you can imagine what we're looking at. Just going to remove some of these. So now that 150 here was threatened, and price beginning to pull back down there. Again, this is a recording from the trading session. I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. Price pulls down and then comes back up for a retest of 150. Now that right there, this move right here against 150, if we see a bounce off of that 150 and we see those sellers holding, we can begin a short position against that level. So you can see the buyers coming in to 148, attempting to break through, attempting to break price higher over 150, and then boom, there's the failure. There are the sellers coming back in at 151, looking to defend that 150 level. And as I fast forward a little bit, you can see that we now begin to get a breakdown away from that 150 level. So how did we know to look at that 150 level? Very simple. We were watching it right here. We were watching it right here. We knew that price was having a hard time multiple times getting up over 150. We know it had spiked under 150 and then failed to hold above, so broken under. Came back up, failed to get up on top of it, came back under, failed to get up on top of it, and then that last try there was what we were looking for a short position at the open. So as I play this tape, the recording, you'll see that we break down fairly quickly there from 150, but we already had our orders in. Let me show you what that looked like. You can see it playing out on the left there, but here at the open, this blue dashed line, this is for the broker's chart. You can see where I began adding at that pullback, adding, waiting, further confirmation, adding, further confirmation, adding. Really sizing my position up because I knew I could risk off of $1.50. And then I'm just going to fast forward a little bit more. I sized up quite a bit into this trade, and when it did eventually break down, I paid myself in the first wash. We were looking for that 140 level to break there on MNGA. And it did. Boom, we got a snap down to 135. And that was my cue to begin taking profits. I had sized up quite a bit, probably overweight a little bit, and so taking my profits a little bit early and then holding the core position for the rest of the trade was what I was looking for. And then anyway, so that was the trade there, how it looked on the order flow, and you can see that I had an average price there of around 144, I believe. And then as price came down in the first washout, I paid myself, allowing myself to hold for longer. And then I waited and I set my target. And price came down to my target, hit me at 124, and that ended up being 1 cent away from the low of day. And then as price came back up, I was looking to add at the volume weighted average price, the downside. I did find a high that I added at. Again, always looking at the order flow and picking those highs that way. It's not very hard to pick highs when you're looking at the order flow. And I was expecting for price to continue lower, snapping lower. But instead, we got a whole bunch of strength, and I ended up having to add as price spiked up to a level that was important in order to scale out of the position on the way down. So managed to actually make money on this trade despite stopping out a little bit. Actually, I didn't even stop out over, I stopped out under. So I made money on this second attempt to add to price, but as it started to break higher, I didn't want any piece of it. Later on in the day, did actually have another trade on MNGA. So I'm just going to scroll forward here a little later in the day. You can see the entire day there on MNGA, but I ended up taking another trade up here at the high, trying to ride this down all the way to even below our previous low. So I did manage to catch that high there, as you can see here. I did manage to catch this high, risking off the previous high, but then as you can see, I took a piece right away because there was a lot of buying strength, and it ended up pushing price all the way down and then all the way back up. So I didn't want to have anything to do with that. Anyway, I went off for lunch at around 12:30 or so. But anyway, so that was the trade today on MNGA. I hope walking through it like this with you guys was helpful. The last thing I want to do is rush through these trade examples like that. But I hope showing you the video and talking through the video a little bit as well was helpful. So let me know in the channel if you guys thought that was helpful or not. And I'll continue doing that, and I'll probably get better and smoother at showing you the video. But anyway, so we did have some range on MNGA that we ended up taking advantage of and taking some money out of. There was some bigger trades today, but they weren't shortable, or they were on SSR or whatever. But as the week goes on, we're going to have more and more options. I know next week's going to be really exciting because I think we're really going to start getting that volume back in the market. And we can look for plays like LFIN. So this is, if you haven't heard of LFIN, this is something I traded live in the room with. You can ask Tommy and Leveled. But this is a stock that, for example, small cap stock, just like we normally trade, a lot of pre-market action, was totally in our ballpark, and I ended up taking a long position at $30 and selling up at $33, I think, or $34. And that was good enough for me, but instead, this stock actually went from 30 something dollars, $38 or so, all the way up to $140, over $140, $144. Let me say that again, from $30 to $144 within 2 hours before lunchtime. So that shows you the power of these low float small cap stocks. Sorry, my headphones turned off, my wireless, and they turn off if they don't hear any noise because I'm talking too much, it's telling me, I guess. Anyway, LFIN, huge trade. So that's the type of thing that we're looking for. I mean, obviously, if you held on to this the entire way, there's something wrong with you. But even a small piece of this would have been, $20 move. So anyway, um, volume coming back. I hope that explanation wasn't too long-winded. I hope you sat through it all because there was some important information in there. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the members live trading room. And let me know also if you like the replay. All right, guys. See you tomorrow morning.